So as a child, if the child is not challenged, they will experience the challenge in their adulthood. That means if they were not made to earn their own money, if they were not put in a situation where they had to perform and bring results, if they were not put in a situation where they had to be self-reliant, when they grow up and they become an adult, they will have to learn as an adult what they should have learned as a child. So adults who are not self-reliant, who are not reliable, who are not independent, who are not able to function or lead or be an adult in every sense of the word, is because as a child, they were not put into that situation because we coddled them, because we protected them, because we loved them, because we nurtured them, love in the wrong way, because we always sheltered them. So when we do that to a child out of love, the intention is beautiful, but the result may not always be. So when the child is young and they're not challenged to make their own money, they're not challenged to be independent, they're not challenged to come up with ideas or to survive or to have integrity or tell the truth or perform or to have results, they grow up as adults having to develop those qualities. And you know what? As adults, they suffer more as a child because there's no cushion. You don't want to look at a 30-year-old who acts like a 12-year-old. You don't want to teach a 30-year-old integrity, honesty, having results, or thinking maturely, or taking responsibility, or explaining, lecturing them about why it hurts when you break your promise or when you don't finish your work. You don't want to explain that to a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, because that's what you would explain to a 10-year-old, to a 12-year-old, to a 15-year-old. And so when you put a 10, 12, 15-year-old in a situation where they have to produce, there's got to be results, they're independent, they make their own, and they keep their promises, they have integrity, they don't disappoint, then when they're 20, they've perfected that. When they're 30, they're a master of it. When they're 40 and 50, they're an inspiration, and they are a leader, and they are someone that people can trust and follow because they've developed these qualities as a child. So as a parent, we have a special responsibility to put our children in a situation where they will become pros in their 20s of honesty, integrity, production, results, and masters of integrity, production, results in their 30s, and inspirations to others in their 40s and 50s. And in their 60s and 70s, they should be fountainheads of wisdom based on a lifetime of integrity, care, benefiting others, love, like many of the old lamas that I've seen in the monasteries. So, when we have adults that you have to push and deal with their personalities and remind them to be kind, to not lie, to have integrity, to finish your work, to come out with ideas, to think, to take responsibility, something was lacking in their childhood, either from their adults or their own resistance, or both, or a combination, or whatever. As I said, I'm not judging or putting people in boxes, but it can only be one or two things. You know, what else could it be? So, as adults, whatever we need to learn, there are things as adults we need to learn, and there are things that we need to learn as children. But many of the things that we know as adults come from learning when we were growing up. So whatever we didn't learn when we were growing up, we're going to have to learn when we're grown up. And that is where the problem arises. Because when we're grown up, maybe our parents are old, or bless their hearts, they may have passed away, or they're not capable of taking care of us anymore, and we got to take care of them. Or we need to take care of ourselves and the people around us. Because if we're perpetually a child, we will burden everybody around us. And burdening people makes people lose respect for us. And when they lose respect, we lose self-respect. When we lose self-respect, we become deceptive, we become angersome, we become hateful, and we become all the things that we rather not become. We rather not become. So therefore, if you didn't learn all these things as a child, or you learned wrongly as a child, is it too late as an adult? Definitely not. Because the mind stream you had in your previous lives is the same mind stream you had at their deaths. And the mind stream you had at their deaths is the mind stream you had when you took rebirth in your mother's womb for 9 months. And when you took rebirth, when you came out of your blessed mother's womb, it's the same mind stream. And it's the same mind stream that continues when you are an infant, to preschool years, to kiddie years, to teenage years, to adult years, to who you are now. It is the exact same mind stream. And that mind stream will continue to when you age and when you die again, and when you enter the bardo, when you enter your mother again, and then when you take rebirth again, and then you're a child and you grow up again. It's the same mind stream. In that sense, that mind stream has no end. Or, if I may say so in this case, no beginning, no end. All right, that's not literally that. Don't take me literally, but just for convenience sake, there's no beginning and end. There's no age in that mind stream. That mind stream doesn't get old or young. Why? Because if that mind stream is too old to learn, then when you're taking rebirth as a child again, you're too old to learn. Your body is young, but your mind should be too old to learn what? So if your body is old, and then you say that your mind is old, and that doesn't make sense, because then you must be born old again. And that doesn't make sense either. So therefore, your mind doesn't become old or young. Your physical body can become a little incapacitated due to age and a little worn out, but your mind should be sharp as ever if you develop it. So therefore, you're never too old to learn, relearn. And there's a wonderful Zen proverb that I read the other day on Twitter, which is, learning something every day is intelligence, but letting go of something every day is wisdom. Learning something every day is intelligence. Letting go of something every day is wisdom. And that really is very impactful on me. So therefore, all the horrible, inverted comma, things that I experienced as a child, now in retrospect, were not horrible. They made me who I am. Who am I? The best person I can be at the moment. But I'm not going to stop at being the best person at the moment, because I'm going to be even better. I'm going to be kinder, even more generous, more forgiving, more understanding, more tolerant, more hardworking, more self-introspective to look for improvements within myself. In other words, I want to get enlightened. And when we say we can't do it, 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 you know what? It's not the universe, it's not your enlightened nature, it's not the Buddha, it's not your parents, it's not your friends, it's not people with wisdom telling you you can't do it, it's you yourself telling you you can't do it. So when it's you yourself telling yourself you can't do it versus the universe, your friends, people with wisdom, your teachers, the Buddha telling you you can do it, well, it's you versus them. So if you yourself say you can't do it, you can't improve, you can't grow, versus all samsara and nirvana telling you you can do it, guess who's not right? Definitely yourself. So when we keep saying we can't do it, 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 actually we can do it. It's just we don't want to do it. Why don't we want to do it? Because the repercussions of damaging other people, or laziness, or lack of integrity hasn't come back to us full force yet. The wheel of sharp weapons hasn't come back yet. And may Lord Yamantaka bless us that the wheel of sharp weapons returns quickly before it's too late, so we realize something. Now, so all the experiences that I labeled as horrible when I was growing up, today I realized were wonderful. And in the future, when I talk about it, it's going to be a different me talking about it. If I need to talk about it, if it's necessary. Why? Because they made me who I am. They made me the stronger Dharma practitioner.